Rediscover your past by digitizing your family's memories with LEGACYBOX. Watch until the end of this video to find out more about preserving your legacy, and then visit legacybox.com/recollection. Over the last 250 years, ordinary life has changed drastically for Americans. From practical innovation to society-altering inventions. These were not trends, but rather a breakthrough that revolutionized the way we live in the United States, and later, the world. In 1793, Eli Whitney completed his cotton gin in Savannah, Georgia. Before this machine, removing seeds from cotton was done by hand, and it was a very slow, labor-intensive process. One worker could clean about a pound a day by themselves. When the gin was introduced, production jumped dramatically. Cotton cloth became more widely available, and most importantly, more affordable. This absolutely changed everything about what Americans wore. In 1831, Cyrus McCormick demonstrated his mechanical reaper machine in Rockbridge County, Virginia. Prior to this, harvesting grain took large crews, swinging scythes from sunup to sundown. A mechanical reaper let one farmer harvest twice as much grains as a team of men. Because of this, grain supplies increased and bread became cheaper. In 1844, the first long-distance telegraph message was sent by Samuel Morse from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore, Maryland. Before this, urgent news traveled no faster than a horse. Afterward, messages crossed states in minutes. Morse used an early version of his Morse code, and the first message sent to Baltimore included the words, "What hath God wrought?" Railroads, newspapers, and general business changed almost overnight. In 1859, Edwin Drake struck oil in Titusville, Pennsylvania. That single well launched the American petroleum industry, but more importantly, it gave us kerosene. Oil lamps quickly replaced candles and whale oil, making homes brighter at night, and lighting costs dropped for ordinary families. This discovery was also a springboard for industrialist John D. Rockefeller, eventually making him the richest man in the world. In 1869, the Transcontinental Railroad was officially completed when Leland Stanford drove the Golden Spike at Promontory Summit, Utah, that stretched all the way back to Omaha, Nebraska. This completed a coast-to-coast rail line that connected to existing railroads on both the east and west coast. The transcontinental journey went from taking months to about a week. With this, mail-order goods, travel, and migration surged. In 1873, steel production scaled up under Andrew Carnegie. That's when he opened his first steel mill in Pittsburgh. This was also the moment in time when large cities began to build toward the sky. Affordable steel made skyscrapers, longer bridges, and industrial plants possible. The modern American city would not be what it is today without the Carnegie Steel Company. In 1876, the telephone was first successfully demonstrated by Alexander Graham Bell in Boston, Massachusetts. He was in his laboratory, and his assistant, Thomas Watson, was in another room. Bell famously said, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." And the rest is history. Instead of sending a telegram or letter and waiting days, you could now hear a voice instantly, connected by copper wire. In 1879, practical electric lighting came alive in Menlo Park, New Jersey, because of Thomas Edison. It's not that he invented the light bulb, but instead he developed the first practical, long-lasting, incandescent filament and the system to make it viable. Streets then grew safer because of lighting. Homes grew brighter, and life no longer had to stop at sundown. By 1880, mechanical refrigeration systems, engineered by Carl von Linde, an engineer from Germany, were being installed in American breweries in St. Louis, meatpacking plants in Chicago, and eventually rail cars to transport cold products across the country. Cold refrigeration made food last longer, and this in itself made expansion by modern supermarkets possible. There was less foodborne illness, less food waste, and American diets improved. In 1903, powered flight became reality when the Wright brothers flew off the dunes at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, for about 12 seconds, and it covered 120 feet. From that point on, aviation became possible. Airplanes continued to look experimental, especially since they were built from wood and fabric. But within a few decades, commercial air travel shifted to metal construction, which translated to stronger, larger, and faster planes. In 1908, Henry Ford launched the Model T assembly line in Detroit, Michigan. Cars that were built by hand would take 12+ hours, but with the perfected Ford assembly line, cars were done in about an hour and a half. This drastically lowered the price, and cars became more accessible to families. The assembly line concept spread beyond automobiles to appliances, electronics, and food processing, creating a mass production economy. In 1935, electricity in rural areas was made possible by the Rural Electrification Act, signed into law by FDR. Before the 1930s, electricity was mostly an urban luxury. Farm families relied on kerosene lamps, wood stoves, and hand-powered tools, making chores long and exhausting. But after FDR gave low-interest loans to farmer-run cooperatives, they began to build power lines in areas private companies ignored. Suddenly, rural homes had the same modern luxuries that big cities had enjoyed for decades. For millions of farm families, this meant their first electric lights, radios, and powered water pumps. In 1941, large-scale penicillin production was achieved in U.S. labs in Peoria, Illinois, led by Howard Florey and his team. They developed the methods to purify penicillin, and pharmaceutical companies were able to manufacture it for use during World War II. This was the first true antibiotic, making bacterial infections that once killed routinely, like strep throat, pneumonia, and infections from wounds, now treatable. Before the 1950s, long-distance travel in the U.S. was slow and dangerous. Roads were often narrow, poorly paved, and full of obstacles. In 1956, Dwight D. Eisenhower signed the Federal Aid Highway Act, launching the Interstate highway system. Engineers built wide highways that connected cities across the country. Families could then drive long distances safely, trucks could transport goods faster, and commerce and tourism began to boom. The interstate made America smaller by travel standards. It reshaped cities and connected communities like never before. Prior to the 1950s, computers were massive machines that filled rooms, and they could only do a few tasks at a time. But that all changed in 1958, when Jack Kilby at Texas Instruments created the first integrated circuit, or microchip, in Dallas, Texas. This tiny chip could hold multiple electronic components on a single piece of semiconductor material, making devices smaller, faster, and more reliable. Microchips became the brains of computers, calculators, and eventually the electronics we now carry, transforming life by making new technology portable and powerful. In 1969, the early internet took its first breath when Leonard Kleinrock and his team at UCLA in Los Angeles sent the first message over the new ARPANET network. They tried to send the word login, but the system crashed after the first two letters. So the first internet message in history was simply LO. This network would eventually allow computers to communicate across long distances, and this was the foundation that would transform our daily life in ways we could never imagine. In 1973, mobile phones became a reality, sort of. That year, Martin Cooper at Motorola made the first call on a handheld cell phone in New York City. The device was bulky, weighed about 2.5 pounds, and had a battery life of only 20 minutes, but it worked anywhere a signal was available. The first cell phone started a revolution, eventually leading to us all carrying the devices in our pockets and completely changing how we stay connected with each other. In 1977, the personal computer was born. That's when Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs released the Apple II in Cupertino, California. It was one of the first personal computers sold fully assembled, with color graphics, a keyboard, and expandable memory. The Apple II made computing less about hobbyists and more about everyday people. The user-friendly new Apple II helped to launch Apple into the tech stratosphere, with new innovations like the iPod and later iPhone, all of which built off the earlier success of the Apple II. Recollection Road and LEGACYBOX both believe it's important to preserve the past. If you're like me, there's a box of your family's treasured home movies and photos tucked away somewhere, and LEGACYBOX can help you preserve them digitally. The process is a simple and safe solution for converting your home movies and photos to thumb drive or to the cloud. Just send in your LEGACYBOX filled with old VHS and camcorder tapes, film reels, and pictures, and get back digital copies that can be easily enjoyed, shared, and kept organized. It's that easy. LEGACYBOX is trusted by over 1 million people, and it's all done right here in the USA. Get started preserving your past today. Go to legacybox.com/recollection to get an incredible 55% off. Buy today to take advantage of this exclusive offer and send in your memories when you're ready. Go to legacybox.com/recollection to save 55% while supplies last. Let me know in the comments if I missed anything, and make sure to check the description of this video for links to pick up a t-shirt. Also, don't forget to visit our friends at Horn & Hardart to save 10% on your next order. Visit hornandhardart.com/recollection. Thank you to our loyal Patreon supporters listed here. Visit patreon.com/recollectionroad to join the club.